Hi, welcome back to Talk Time. I'm your host, Teisha. Today we're talking about the SEC lawsuit with Coinbase and Bianca. Two different lawsuits. We talked about Bianca yesterday. We'll talk about Coinbase more in detail and what this means for the cryptocurrency. And we're going to talk about the housing market in the United States. Are we in a housing bubble? I'll give you my take. All this and more. I'm attorney Teisha Powell. We'll be back shortly. Hi, welcome back to Talk Time. I'm your host, Teisha Powell. I'm an attorney, author, and mom. I'm a former Wall Street attorney, and I've worked on hedge funds. I've worked on litigation that involved lenders, and my former clients include GE and Subway. So, speaking of the SEC versus Coinbase, let's talk more about that. So, cryptocurrency, it's pretty much here to stay. So, there's about 23,000 of them. And Gary Gensler, the chief of the SEC, we call him the Wall Street Police Boy today, officer, he went after Coinbase and Bianca. And those are like the two largest crypto asset holders. And Coinbase, I mean, even I have Coinbase, it's an app, it's an app that we all use. And they're accusing Coinbase and Bianca of some kind of not registering security. So what's going on? I just wanted to show people, even I have Coinbase. It's just something that everybody has. So in order for us to talk about both of them, we need to realize that they're in two different boats, okay? Bianca and Coinbase are two different boats. I don't know much about Bianca's setting up. I do know Coinbase is more reputable than Bianca this moment in time. That's my opinion, based upon the fact that even a 47-year-old mother can use Coinbase. So with that said, the SEC going after Coinbase is a lot different than the SEC going after Bianca. First of all, Gary Gensler has a relationship with Bianca, and that's what the attorneys done. Bianca had a top law firm. I mean, probably the 7th or 17th in the world. So this is going to go on for years. This is going to be litigating. This is why the cryptocurrency is not really moving. I mean, nobody's afraid because the SEC, it's going to take years to get through the system. So with that said, Bianca is saying that Gary needs to step down because Gary had a relationship where he met with the owner of Bianca. He didn't get on with the crypto. So they're saying maybe he's retaliating. We don't know. The accusation of Bianca is a lot different from Coinbase. Coinbase is in a much better position, and I'll tell you why Coinbase is in a much better position. It's known to be more reputable. That's number one. Number two, Coinbase actually did reach out to the SEC, and they actually tried to get some form of settlement. They tried to get some form of clarification, and the government just totally ignored them. Ladies and gentlemen, either way, the SEC going after these 23,000, this is good for everybody because they're going to flush out the ones that are not really valuable. So I tell people, this is good, this is not bad. This is good. This is a natural progress. This is a natural cycle of business, okay? So do not, think anything bad is going on with these lawsuits because out of these 23,000, some got to be good and some got to be bad. I just think the way the SEC is going about it is too broad. All crypto exchange are illegal, Gary. That is just overbroad. Some, like I tell people, some actually add value. Some don't add value. So my question to the SEC is, what do you want from the crypto people? Tell them what you want. And what are you actually regulating? Because, and I said this in my last show, what is a security and who defines security? Because I don't see how cryptocurrency is a security. I can't feel it, Gary, and I can't see it. And then he's mentioned it's a token. I didn't get a token. Nobody gets a token when you buy a security. So, Gary, why don't you try to understand the security business? Young people, Gary, don't even use, they use the phone to pay bills. Oh, do I know I have 9-year-old twins? They don't really they're Americans, they live in New York. They don't really, a lot of young people don't even use currency. So I think that Mr. Gary needs to like step up and try to learn about the currency stuff. I think he needs to understand the internet created this ecosystem and this need for us to trade. How do I trade with somebody in Africa? Then Gary's saying this. Listen to this, which not many people liked. Gary's saying we already have a digital currency. That's what the SEC is saying. The dollar, the euro, the yen. No, we don't. No, we don't. We had a bad debt ceiling. The US dollar is declining, Gary. People are nervous. That's exactly what's going on. Nobody is believing in the dollar. Number two, how do I pay people over the internet with my remote working? It's like MasterCard and Visa card don't work everywhere. Cryptocurrency seems to be stretching. So I think that Mr. Gary really needs to get on the bandwagon. I think the SEC is overstepping and overregulating. And I'm not going to even address the broker-dealer area yet. Like I said, I think Bianca is in a worse position than Coinbase. I think Coinbase is in a better position. I think people should not panic. I think they should not open any more crypto. I think we'll have 23,000. And I think this lawsuit, this SEC lawsuit, is going to destroy some and it's going to strengthen others. So some people, crypto will be worth a lot more and some won't be worth anything. So some will be flushed out, some will stay in. But can the government regulate all of them? Impossible. We all know what the Bible said. The Bible said that in the last days, there will be one currency. And we do know that the internet is here to stay. We know digital asset is here to stay. And I got to tell you, the SEC, they do not make the last decision. It's going to either be Congress or the court. And the court might not rule in favor of the SEC. So this is why Coinbase and Bianca lawyered up, because if they take it through the court, it doesn't mean the SEC is going to win. And also, too, Congress probably going to try to regulate this as well. So the SEC has a long way to go, but this is good for the crypto market because you want the SEC to help to flush out the good from the bad. So that's what we are going to see. That's why it's business as usual. And it, first of all, is it even a security? That's the number one. And my opinion as a Wall Street attorney, if SEC says a security, it's going to be a security. It's just the way it is. We're not going to get over. The government has a lot of power. But what I would say is that welcome the lawsuit, and we'll dissect it more next week. We'll dissect it in a couple of days as well. Subscribe so you can hear more. But the lawsuit will be good because some of the cryptocurrencies, they're going to stay afloat. We'll be back to talk about the housing market. Are we in a housing bubble? Well, I'm a Wall Street attorney. I'm about to answer that question for you. I'm Teisha Powell. We'll be back shortly. Take care. Hi, welcome to Talk Time. I'm your host, Teisha Powell, author, attorney, and mom of 9-year-old twins. I'm 47 years old, and in 2008, I was practicing law in Florida, and I noticed a shift in the real estate market, and we were able to help hundreds of homeowners save their homes from foreclosure. So I authored the book, The Homeowner's Guide to Surviving Foreclosure, and as a former Wall Street attorney, I've been asked all this time, are we in a housing bubble? Because I was able to see what happened in 2008 and warned people. And Elon Musk said we're in a housing bubble, and the Reddit CEO said that we're not. So people have been asking me, are we in a housing bubble? And I'm here to say, Elon Musk even admitted that he is not an expert in the real estate. And to conclude that, I'm going to go with the Reddit CEO. We're not in a housing market bubble. This is the price of real estate. So let me explain what's going on. It's called feast or famine. Real estate goes up, down, up, down, up, down. And also real estate, in order to have a bubble, in order for you to have a bubble, there must be surplus. There must be a lot of something. In 2008, President Obama shut down the banks. He shut down a lot of banks, okay? What happened? The residential market crashed, okay? The residential market crashed, okay? People lost their homes. That's why poverty is so big in America, because banks get shut down by government. And when it does, there are 4,800 banks in America, and some of them get shut down, not all of them. The big ones really don't, but the smaller ones do. And sadly, that causes a lot of people to go homeless because, like I tell you, a lot of people in America live on credit. You have to live on credit if you live in America. So some live on expensive credit, some live on low credit. So and government interfere with the housing market. So government control currency. So they make the laws. So young people need to understand that the cycle go up and down. Location is the key, and you have no control over timing, and government regulation changes the dynamic of real estate. So in 2008, the government shut down the banks, and that created a lot of surplus in real estate. Then the Dodd-Frank, that got introduced, and that tightened, Elon Musk, that tightened the lending standard in the residential property. So an example, in 2008, you could buy a property in Florida for $423 in Victoria Park. In 2011, after Obama shut the market down, that same property in 2011 was selling for $286, 1,200 square. What happened? The market crashed. The market corrected itself. This is why government interference sometimes is good and sometimes it's bad. Because when government interfere, they weed out the weak ones. That's the good part about government interference. So thank God that the banks got shut down. Sadly, people went poor. But guess what? The Dodd-Frank got introduced and the market got stronger. So the property was 286, but there was no more 100% financing. You needed 10% to put down. A lot of people didn't have that, so they walked away. So in 2020, what you think happened? Well, people needed 10% and 20% to put down. So the lending standard tightened up in 2020 for the market. So if the lending standard tighten up, how can you have a housing bubble? You can't. So in order to have a housing bubble, you need loose lending standards, and you also need surplus. So there is no surplus. We have a shortage in residential property in the United States. There's a major shortage. So the property value in 2008, that's what you paid for in 2020. That's why a lot of people ran into the market, because they saw that it was the same thing and interest rate was at 3%. So when people tell you we're in a bubble, they're not looking at the cycle of the market. I'm a former Wall Street attorney. I study this every day. The residential market is not in a bubble. What's going on in Texas and what's going on in California, that market is crashing. So with that conclusion, what I want to tell young people and everybody is that it depends the market that you're in. If you are in commercial real estate, you are going to be crying today. And that has way too much surplus. People are working remotely. And because people are working remotely, the commercial real estate market crashed. And because the commercial real estate market crashed, there's going to be a lot of surplus. So the commercial real estate market is now on its way down. Also, too, the lending standards, it's my understanding that a lot of these lenders did interest only. And we do know that there's a really bad inflation in the United States. And President Biden said he is going to raise the interest rates. And because he's going to raise the interest rate, it is going to crash the commercial property, because these interest rate market, these interest only properties, they're tied to the commercial, and people are working from home. So that's going to be a problem for commercial real estate. So hang tight, that is going to be a crash. And we know that there's a crash going on now in California, and we know that there's a crash going on in Texas. I thought, yes, so let me explain to you. Those crashes didn't happen in 2008. So researchers and analysts are saying, if your market crashed in 2008, like Florida market did, you're not going to crash again, because the market has to try itself. It's got to try real values. So we expect some to dip and go up. So young people, I'm here to say this is the new market. It's here to stay. So let's not be saying, oh, we're in a housing bubble. I'm going to wait for it to come down. Young people, we need to save. That's the first thing. We're going to save to catch the market. Okay. We're going to start saving. That's number one. Number two, we're bringing on some experts on the show. They're going to talk to us about money and how to come up with the down payment. Number three, young people, look into digital assets. Look into starting business. Look into working a second job. But you can catch the market. I think it's highly speculative to say it's coming down because we don't think it's going to be coming down because, you know, it's the same as it was selling for 2008. So the value is there, okay? And yes, government interference. What's going on in California is that insurance companies, two major insurance companies, Allstate and State Farm, they left. The governor, he's big government, Mr. Newsom, he had a policy where the insurance was inflated, kept low for years, which was unrealistic. So he suppressed the cost, and the insurance companies could not cover what's going on with the inflation. So they left. So that's going to kind of crash the California market. And also, just a lot of wildfires in California. And that is under the federal guidelines because the federal government owns like most of the land in California. And they're not really doing anything about the fires. I mean, big government is the problem. I'm not anti-government. I just don't like big government. I prefer small government because I'm about God and I'm about my family. And I like to be as close to my family and God as I can. And I don't like government interference in my life. And I don't like government interference in anybody's life. And I hope you guys all feel the same way, that we're capable of, taking care of ourselves, and small government is just the better option. So I'm Teisha Powell. We will be bringing you more business news. Please go ahead and subscribe. As much as I'd like to say we're in a housing bubble, we're not. Some parts are, some parts aren't. And I would just say, young people, get ready to start saving money because you can catch this. They're doing 40-year mortgages now. So we just need to come up with a good down payment. And one of the options are for us to start saving now. Start saving today, young people. You'll be surprised how in 5 years you could have a good and a decent amount to catch the market. I suspect the market is going to be just doing this for a while. That's what I suspect with the housing. But commercial is on its way down, and crypto is here to stay. Let the SEC do what it must. It will bring value to the ones that are really supposed to be there. But yes, so I love sometimes when the government comes in because it really tightens some of the markets and the values really start to show. So young people, there's nothing free. The government is not in charge of us. We're in charge of ourselves. So I tell people, start saving now. I'm Teisha Powell. Thanks so much for watching. From all of us here at Talk Time, from all of us here in New York, USA. See you real soon. Take care.